Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today we're going to be doing my reaction and review for LEGO Ninjago Season 12, Episode 13, Ninjago Confidential. So if you would like to see my full reaction to the episode, you can be sure to go down below to the description of this video, where right at the top you'll find a link leading you over to Google Photos, where you'll be able to view my full uncut reaction to the episode, and then back over here on YouTube, you'll be able to view my full spoiler-filled review for the episode, which is what we're going to get into right now. So this episode was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I really love it when Ninjago experiments with using like different styles, and of course previously they've done like 2D animation. They did that kaiju episode with Pixel and Master Wu where they go in a sort of different style as well, like old classic monster movies, and now we're getting a detective noir style within this episode. And I had heard about this episode, but of course I hadn't seen it yet, so I was really excited for this. They even do the intro with a new sort of like ninja whip to it, where it's like a detective noir sort of jazz style, and I really love that. I just love how they went just full on with this episode. So at the beginning of the episode, we actually get a small cameo from one of the Shima beavers from LEGO Legends of Shima, of course, and I thought that was cool. It's a very quick moment, of course, but I think it's cool how they kind of tie that in a little bit with Shima. I'm really just waiting for them to at some point maybe bring back Shima, but not as its own show, but maybe as a sort of small crossover within Ninjago once again. But basically this episode, not getting too off topic here, is surrounding Zane kind of taking on this detective persona in order to kind of figure out where Milton Dyer is hiding out in the real world so that he can find him, and then because his suspicion is that he is Unagami, so of course they have to find him in order to stop Unagami. And basically he has to of course team up with Pixel for this, but he's taken on this detective noir sort of style. And for one thing, I am very impressed by the voice actor for Zane, Brent Miller. He did a fantastic job capturing that good tone and voice for a detective, sort of like stereotypical voice for them. And Zane is just, apparently he's just gone through all of the data on detective movies and just information in general, and he's taken on this persona. He's wearing a trench coat, a hat as well, so he's just taking on the full sort of outfit here, and I think that's really cool. And of course Pixel's kind of weirded out by this and thinking like, what is this gonna do in helping us? But basically Zane just winds up narrating most of the episode, which is just a lot of fun. I absolutely loved it. His voice is so smooth in it as well. And they basically wind up, Pixel tells him that she's found out some information, because of course previously they went to Milton Dyer's mom and found out that Milton had a friend who he worked closely with on the game, and on the game Prime Empire basically, and that friend could kind of have some information on where Milton is currently. So Pixel wound up finding out that he's working at Dareth's hangout basically. Of course, if you can remember, Dareth owns like a sort of like bar, I suppose you could call it, but basically a hangout for people, and they wind up going there, and they're not the greatest people there. I would say a lot of what seem to be criminals, I would say, or at least people who are not in the right line of work, and they wind up stumbling into Dareth. Now, Dareth, at one point he hits the nail on the head, and at the other point he misses it completely, because he is able to guess that they've come here to basically try to find out some information on how to get the ninja out of basically another realm. That's basically what his guess is, and he hits the nail on the head. But his thing is that he thinks that they've come here to get his help, of course, as the brown ninja. And it's really funny because when they go up to Dareth, it transitions out of the like detective black and white style back into the original like normal Ninjago style, and I really like that they transition back and forth, because when you're going through like Zane's perspective, you're in that noir style, but then when you go into like Pixel or Dareth, let's say, it kind of comes out of that style. So I really enjoyed that. It was kind of funny, almost like mocking Zane in a sort of way. And they wind up running into some people who are basically, one of the guys is Fuji Dove's brother, and he's kind of angry at them, saying that they threw his brother in jail. Now, not knowing explained that Fujidub previously escaped as well, and also that Zane and Pixel literally have no idea who Fujidub is. He is not very memorable, to say the least, even if they were the ones who locked him up. And of course, so they wind up telling him that they don't know who he's talking about, but they wind up getting into a fight, and it is a very funny fight because Zane's narrating all of his moves that he's doing, like, oh, I'm gonna do a left hook here, and the guy's just blocking all of his attacks. Now, luckily, Pixel is not in this noir style as of yet, and she just winds up helping Zane fight these guys, taking them down, and then they find out that one of the, like, servers, basically, the person behind the counter, is actually Milton Dyer's friend, and his name's Tony, and he explains, basically, that Milton would hang out at this place that he would call, like, Video Game City, so they wind up taking that lead and going there to try to investigate and find some clues that could lead them to hopefully where Milton Dyer is, but they wind up getting ambushed by the mechanic, who of course is working for Unagami, and he actually winds up beating them. Surprisingly, he actually like electrocutes them, so that was definitely really interesting to kind of see that he winds up beating them basically, and actually winds up kidnapping Zane. So they leave Pixel behind, but he winds up taking Zane. Of course, he's always had an interest in Zane, using him for parts or like taking him apart basically. So they wind up kidnapping Zane. Pixel's kind of left to kind of like find out what's happened, and that's when she enters into this detective noir style, and it's really funny. I absolutely love it. I think it's great that now this style's kind of overtaken her, and she winds up finding out some clues and actually saying the words Video Game City, winds up opening up a secret passage where it leads her to Milton Dyer, and we can see that Milton's basically, now he's an old man here, and Pixel's like, because you're Unagami, and then he's like, I'm not Unagami. He's like, Unagami was actually the test, like the, I don't even know what you would call it. I forget what he called it, but it's basically the title before they come up with the official title, or the temporary title, I suppose, and that title was Untitled Adventure Game 1, and that's how it turned into that name, Unagami, and it's basically the actual video game. The artificial intelligence has taken on this persona of Unagami and has basically finished the game itself, because Milton explains that he never wound up finishing the game because he realized how dangerous it could wind up being. So he wound up canceling the game basically and kind of locking it behind a bunch of security, but the game itself from the inside wound up building itself up, and that's how Prime Empire's become a threat. So I thought that was just really interesting. So really, Milton Dyer is still technically was behind Unagami, but not knowingly. Like, he didn't really know what that could turn into, and now Unagami's just taken the reins here, and now he is the one creating himself and trying to get into the real world, which just makes a lot of sense for sure, and just kind of explains why he's just basically like pure evil, because he's just an artificial intelligence. And yeah, that's basically how it goes, and that is how the episode winds up finishing. Really fantastic. It's a great reveal there, and I felt like this was a good episode because it wasn't like it was a filler episode. It wound up exploring something and revealing some really big details in all, and it was just really cool to see them experiment with this style. I can't say if I'd want the style to return, maybe in a small part, but not as a full episode, even though I really enjoyed it. I think that when you overuse these new sorts of styles, it can get a little bit old, but definitely in this one episode, I would say it was a 5 out of 5 episode. I really love it when they experiment like this, and I want to see them do things like this in the future as well, because it is just a lot of fun and allows for some really cool new creative possibilities. So overall, a fantastic episode. I can't wait to see what the next episode's all about now that we know who Unagami is, or what Unagami is, and that Milton Dyer is not really the one behind this. I'll be very curious to see what it's like when Jay and Nia eventually get to confront Unagami. So yeah, just a fantastic episode overall. Really enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below on the episode, and be sure to leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate the support. Be sure to subscribe as well if you want to see my future LEGO Ninjago reaction videos. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.